Hello, hello, Taurus. Welcome to your mid-2019 overview reading. This is good for you if you're Sun, Moon, Rising, Taurus, and this is going to be a reading that lasts from July of 2019 to December of 2019. So we're going to go ahead and get into that today. And go ahead, take a deep breath into the diaphragm. Notice anything that wants to come up for you today. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button if you would like to get more content from me. And go ahead and like this video, share this video if somebody could use it. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Onyx Healing. I'm going to lay out this spread and then we will get started. All right, Taurus, let's go ahead and get into this. So the first card coming up for you is Destruction. Okay, so burning things down, letting go, releasing a lot of stuff, whatever that looks like. For some of you, maybe it's certain relationships that you've had. Maybe you're outgrowing your friends. Maybe you're outgrowing your job. Remember, anytime there's destruction, it's often times because you need that soil, that fertilizer for the oncoming experience that you're having. Okay, and then let's see what else is coming up for you. Ideal partnership. I am a rare and precious find, and my brilliance will be reflected back to me when I am paired with a true match. My ideal partnerships and working relationships are easy and free-flowing. I deserve greatness because I am greatness, and to paraphrase Rumi, what I'm looking for is also looking for me. In fact, he or she might be paraphrasing Rumi right now. Okay, so then that makes sense why I was speaking to relationships. Some of you, this is going to be professional. Some of you, this is going to be friendship, romantic. It's going to manifest itself in a bunch of different ways. So just remember that you have the ideal partnership card coming up. So this is way more of an indication of what you have sitting in front of you than the Destruction card. And then we have knowledge, seek understanding, look beyond your assumptions, know that your answer already exists. Okay, so this is telling you to trust yourself a little bit more. You have the knowledge, you have the wisdom, you have the information. Trust that about yourself. It's not a good time to be in a space of self-doubt, right? You're really going to want to trust your feelings and your experiences. Now, these three cards here in the center, what I'd like you to do is just pick one. Just pick a single card just for you. This is going to act as the central energy for the second half of 2019. Don't pick more than one. It's going to make it way too messy. So if you need more time, you're welcome to pause the video and select one, but otherwise, let's go ahead and start with card number one. We have the Four of Wands. This is about the happy home card, having reasons to celebrate, a reason to party, a reason to have a good time. This is the engagement card. So think about like a big group of people that's all kind of surrounding the situation or holding space for that next step. This is really, really a good card for those of you that are interested in like anything business or crowdfunding or anything that requires a group. I'm seeing that as being really aligned over this next half. This is also domestic issues. So think about your home, your physical living space. Do you need to redecorate? Do you need different furniture? Like, what is it that's going on in your physical space that is going to make you more or less comfortable? And start focusing on that a little bit more. Card number two, we have Temperance. So if the pendulum has swung too far to one side, you're going to want to work on evening that out. That's what I would recommend for you. So I don't think there's anything to be, I just see this as things smoothing out, things getting easier, things getting better. That's what the Temperance card is showing me in this position. So you can kind of expect resolution, expect things to get better and better, bigger and bigger, smoother and smoother, whatever it is. But you're going to want to work on the bugs regarding the pendulum having swung too far to one side. So balance is something that we strive to achieve, but don't set yourself up for failure by expecting absolute perfection. It's just a process where you're trying to weave in an element that might be missing. That's all this is. And then we also have the Death card. So the Destruction card is probably applying to you a little bit more if you chose this card, just because this is about the rebirth. Like you might be experiencing some dark night of the soul stuff. You might be experiencing a little bit more discomfort around the things that you've been growing out of. So try not to put too much, just don't have outrageous expectations for how this is going to go. You're going to want to remain buoyant during the transitions. So the Death card is just a transition, kind of like how literal death is the transition from being embodied to no longer having an earth body. You can think about that as something that you go through over and over again. The death and rebirth cycle within your own life. Every time you outgrow something or you level up, it is the rebirth process. You're stepping into a higher version of yourself. And if you feel like you're in that state or that position, you want to go with the flow, allow yourself to heal and experience the discomfort as you continue to move yourself forward. It's not something that you need to fight the current. You don't need to fight against it at all. Just try to remain buoyant. That's the best way I can describe this. Now up here, these two cards, this is what's shifting out of your life, what's falling away, and what's oncoming. So what's shifting out? We have the Four of Pentacles, fear and scarcity. So any of you who have been feeling like there's a lot of limiting beliefs you're needing to challenge, or if you're feeling like there's a lot to do and not enough time or not enough energy or not enough resources, or it's just not the right position yet for you to make that happen. All of that is moving away. So I'm getting that things are going to be kind of like the open road. You can kind of build whatever it is that you want moving forward. Stepping out of this fear and into whatever abundance you're needing. It's not going to be financial for everybody. Some of you are all set financially. Some of you might be time, energy, practitioners. It might be friendships. So do your best to figure out where you're experiencing fear or limiting beliefs in your life, and then work on challenging those. And that's going to be a big help, because this is a good time to actively do that. And then the oncoming energy, we have the Knight of Cups. I'm going to clarify this one because there's some more info that's sitting in this card and I can't tell what it is. So let's see what else. Temperance. So understanding what responsibilities you have personally for the way you're showing up in the environment. That's a really good perspective to have, is just owning your responsibility, owning your time, your energy, your effort, trying to figure out what exactly you're eliciting from your environment based on the way you're kind of showing up to the party. So if you're experiencing things as being really painful, frustrating, full of friction, anything like that, you might want to ask yourself, what intention or energy are you bringing into that environment or into that situation? And then work on balancing that out, or balancing the idea that you don't have control over the environment or circumstances, but you might have a lot of control over the expectations. You have a lot of control over the intention that you're setting. You have a lot of control over kind of having a flexible mind, being able to live in the gray area and show up for yourself as well. And so the other thing that goes along with the Knight of Cups card is really serving yourself first. What I mean is you need to apply your oxygen mask before you should start applying it to other people. And that's really about self-care, making sure your tank is full. That's the number one thing here. Okay, now this card, this is kind of a freebie as well. I'm keeping this reading really fluid, but this is advice for you, or what you need to know And so you can apply this to any area of your life that you want. Maybe there's a specific question that you have or some context that you're looking for. So you can ask that now, pause it if you need more time. And we have the Five of Pentacles. So I think there's a lot of limitations internally around what is possible, realistic, doable at this time. It may be over practicality, and I think you might actually want to start exercising a little bit more of the energetic if you're not used to that. So if you have a lot of earth in your chart and maybe you're so grounded, which is a good thing, but it might be making dreaming or thinking bigger about the situation a little bit more challenging. So try to figure out what feels good in terms of daydreaming or thinking about the impractical, the improbable, the unlikely, the magical. That side of things could actually help loosen this up, because this is another scarcity card, but it's also those of you that have been burned in the past and then looking at the future and anticipating that. That's kind of what the Five of Pentacles is reflecting as well. Is like, well, it hasn't worked out before, so why would it now? Now I'm going to clarify this. We have death. Okay, this is like the major side of things where you are being reborn. So for those of you that picked card number 3, man, this is going to be a very significant second half of 2019. I can tell you that for sure. So this is where you're really coming out of the weeds around anything you thought was not realistic or not meant for you or not destined for you. It's like you're breaking into an entire new territory, and you're able to leave all of that scarcity and limitation behind and show up with more of open-minded, open-hearted, willing to see what happens. This is reflecting a lot of flexibility here with the Temperance card and the Knight of Cups in the oncoming position. And then once again, it's kind of like what you need to know is that you're growing out of these old systems. And I mean, you're going to continue doing that until the day you die. If you're a conscious person and you're willing to improve and learn and grow, you're going to be going through these death and rebirth cycles. So that's why I'm really pushing levity and buoyancy and just being willing to understand that things get incrementally better and better and better. If you're able to get yourself there and really see this as you are responsible for holding space for that bigger and better experience, that's where things are really going to work for you. So try to keep that in mind over this next 6 months. Now let's get into the timeline. First, second, third, and fourth quarter, that'll be where you end the year. These are about 6 weeks. So this first card is going to be July to mid-August of 2019 for Taurus. We have Four of Swords. It's really important for you to relax and rest at this time. And I'm also getting the other thing here. If you've been overworking yourself, maybe loosen things up a bit with some play or recreation or leisure. That's another way we can rest and fill our cup. So I'm getting that this would be a good time for you to do that. Just kind of take advantage of having a little bit of a slower time, and you might be surprised by how much more energy you're able to cultivate as a result. Quarter 2, we have the Three of Wands. See, it's about like the incremental step by step by step. It's not going to come overnight. This is a process, and use your fixed energy to sustain this journey, even if you feel like there's so much to do or there's so much tasking and the to-do list never ends. That's true. You can continue to add things to the list, but really this is about it being a part of the journey. So try to stay for the long haul. Really look at what your goal is, what your desired outcome is, and try to maintain that why during this second quarter, and know that you're continuing to make progress, even if it's just one step at a time. Quarter 3, we have the King of Cups. This is about emotional mastery, and really this is also the king of self-care, like what I was reflecting here with this Knight of Cups. really owning that part of you that can give back to yourself in all ways is the best strategy. And I think that might be an important part of what you're developing and what you're growing out of in this big shift that you have here. As you're kind of using that friction to gain traction in your growth, it's something where you have to consciously and actively triple down on self-care as you do that, especially for those of you that are healing, or if you're going through a really challenging and difficult time. If you're in that boat right now, make sure that your self-care, it needs to be off the charts right now, just for your own well-being. For those of you, maybe you've fallen away or felt like, oh, I don't have time, money, resources, energy to give to myself. This next 6-month period is the lesson in doing that if you feel like you're not good at that. For others of you, it's just about this long journey that you're on and being able to exercise that self-care in the process. Then wrapping up the year, we have the Ace of Swords. So this is a lot of new ideas brewing. This is more inspiration, more clarity, more anticipation. I think there's just a lot of ahas and downloads. The Ace of Swords is definitely helping you for those of you who are doing creative stuff. If you have business ventures, business pursuits, it's like the ideas keep coming, and that's what sustains you. Now let's do a 3-card pick. You're welcome to pick a card that's calling to you. Ask a question, ask for guidance, whatever you need. And this is an oracle deck, by the way. It is not a tarot deck. So card number 1, we have dream travel. Pay attention to your dreams, and if you feel like you really struggle with this, you can also make requests before you go to sleep for things that you're wanting to do and wanting to make happen in the dream realm. Maybe you want to meet up with somebody in the dream realm. I know it sounds ridiculous, but you can make requests for things like that if you need. So I'm just pay attention to that, and also kind of like where your daydreams take you. The good ones, not thinking about catastrophes. That's the fear part of your brain, but actually like your fantasies, like what is it that you really want. Card number 2, we have no bull. Straightforward, direct honesty is the best policy. I think that if you're asking about a situation, it's kind of like be as clear and direct as you possibly can. Do not hide anything right now. If you want to tell somebody what's on your mind, what's on your heart, you need to do that now. Do not hide anything at this point. It's not going to be a good strategy for you. This is true in relationships. It's true in business. It's true in a lot of different areas. So unless for safety reasons you need to not speak up, this is the time to really be authentic and true to yourself. And then card number 3, we have restlessness. So don't wait for the right time, and also try not to put too much pressure on yourself for things to make progress. Remember, if you're working on something, a lot of the time the changes are incremental, and they tend to be a little bit smaller and slower in pace. So don't expect to jump leaps and bounds. This is something that you want to just ease into. Don't rush or force your healing or the process. Just try to take your mind and your eyes off of the clock, and instead just be present with where you are now, and focus on the consistency and the progress that you're making day by day by day, moment by moment, and stick to that so that you don't drive yourself nuts, because you're not going to be able to accurately judge yourself until you have more time. You need to be a little bit more patient here. Thank you so much for joining me today, everybody. I absolutely appreciate you more than you could possibly know. Don't forget, if you didn't watch all 3 of your sun, moon, and rising, make sure you check out your other videos. And you can check out your Mars and Venus if you're a triple sign, so if you have the same sun, moon, or rising signs. But I also want to let you know, if you are interested in topics about intuition, being psychic, all things esoteric and metaphysical, check out my podcast. It is super, super awesome. I have loved doing it. So please check that out. I would really appreciate it. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Onyx Healing. If you need to work with me one-on-one, you know I'm always available for you. So the description box has all of the links to work with me, as well as my meditations, my podcast, all of that good stuff. And don't forget, if you would like the mid-2019 overview love and relationship reading, those are now out on Patreon, bundled with the July reading. So you get 2 readings in one on those videos if you'd like to check that out. Otherwise, I also do weekly sign specific readings for Patreon as well every Friday. So all of that good stuff is available to you. Check out the description box for anything that you're interested in, or if you just want some more content. And go ahead and have a beautiful rest of the year, everybody. I am sending you so much support, so much love, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.